Did you know why in Charlotte you didn't help Tamori when she was getting bullied? You was watching the whole interaction between Tamori and her bullies when they attacked her and admitted that it wasn't cool, but for some reason he decided not to step in and help. During this time, Yu's opinion of Tamori was also becoming a lot more positive as he had started to trust her decisions more, stopped complaining when she asked him to do things, sympathized with her past, and even thought she was amazing after he saw how much effort she put into saving a little girl during one of their missions. So the reason he decided not to step in and help her out could be one of two things. It could be because he didn't think it was worth the effort and didn't care, just like how Tamori thought it wasn't worth the effort to go and get payback on them like Misa had suggested. But that's probably not the reason, given the fact that Yu didn't think what the bullies were doing were okay, and he even checked up on Tamori after the bullies had left. So that means the more likely reason that Yu didn't step in and help is likely because Takajo said he believed he knew what was going on, but it was still best not to step in, and Yu knew that there was probably a reason it was happening given Tamori's nature, on top of her not even trying to defend herself. Did you know that in Re:Zero, there is actually a way Subaru can be unalived permanently? In the Pride If story, Subaru manages to achieve an ending for Amelia that he is completely satisfied with, as he got rid of all of Amelia's competition for the throne, burned down Lugunica, and even successfully found a way to beat Reinhard, paving the way for Amelia to easily claim the throne. In the end, Subaru would finally be unalived by Amelia. However, after he was unalived, he did not return to any point in the past, unlike his previous times. This was because Subaru was completely satisfied with the ending he had given Amelia, as he thought her only wish was to become king, and he believed he managed to do that. And he was unalived believing that his actions would make her happy in the long run. Due to his satisfaction with what he accomplished, he allowed Satella to take away his ability to return by death, and Subaru would finally rest believing that he had achieved his goal in helping Amelia. Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, the timeline shown in the story isn't the original one? 2 years after Paul passed, the man-god visited Rudius asking for a favor. The favor was for Rudius to check his basement, and because the man-god seemed to have given Rudius good advice on his journey so far, he decided he would do the one thing the man-god asked him in return. Right as he was about to leave to go to the basement, a voice stopped him. Rudius turned around to see an old man he'd never seen before, and when asked who he was, the man replied with Rudius's name from his past life. The man would go on to reveal how he was actually Rudius from the future, and how him fulfilling the man-god's favor led to the destruction of his life. He mentions that opening the door to his basement would let out a rat, and that rat would cause the deaths of Roxy, Sylphie, Cliff, Zenoba, Eris, Ariel, and more. He explains to Rudius that he invented time travel magic to come all the way back to prevent Rudius from experiencing that same fate. He adds that his true enemy is the man-god, who is actively trying to prevent Rudius from having a family, and that he should listen to 3 pieces of advice. Those were: consult with Nanahoshi, send a letter to Eris, and doubt the man-god but do not oppose him. Did you know that in Re:Zero, Subaru wouldn't be able to live very long if he didn't have his contract with Beatrice? Due to overusing his magic when he didn't have enough mana, Subaru managed to damage his gate severely. Because of his damaged gate, Subaru is unable to expel mana from his body, and if he accumulates an excessive amount of mana, he could be unalived from it. However, Beatrice is able to solve this problem. When Subaru finally convinces Beatrice that that person doesn't exist, he forms a contract with her. This contract makes it so Beatrice is not able to drain mana from anyone or anything besides Subaru, and because Beatrice needs mana to materialize herself and use magic, she is constantly draining the mana in Subaru's body whenever they are close to each other. Because of this, she is able to prevent Subaru from accumulating an excessive amount of mana in his body, and because of that, she is saving his life.
Did you know that in Seraph of the End, Yu didn't form his contract with Asuromaru the correct way? Even though he ends up succeeding in creating a contract with his demon, he actually didn't do it the right way, mainly because of his values. We've seen many times now that Yu is willing to do anything to protect his allies, and mainly those he calls family. And while I do think that he overuses the term family, and manga readers can definitely agree with me on that, it shows that he doesn't want anyone he cares about or anyone who's helping him to get hurt. And that includes Asuromaru, as Asuromaru is his only source of power that he can control that can help him protect Mika and the rest of his family. And ever since their first meeting, they've basically been allies. In fact, Yu even thinks forming a contract with a demon is basically asking them to be your friend, which is why when Yu was learning demon possession and how to become even closer with Asuromaru while avoiding being possessed, he didn't fight him even when Asuromaru wanted to, and instead offered to be each other's friends. But as it turns out, that actually isn't normal, and most people actually fight their demons to weaken their heart and gain control over them that way.
Did you know that in More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers, Akari might confess her love to Jiro? The day after Akari denied Jiro's invitation to live with him after the practical, Akari went to hang out with her friends. While she was with them, one of her friends brought up how she was about to move in with her ex before they broke up. This immediately reminded Akari of the conversation her and Jiro had the night before. With the conversation in mind, Akari asked if it was okay to move in with someone who you weren't dating and do stuff couples would do around the house from time to time. Instantly, both of Akari's friends knew something happened between her and Jiro, and they asked for all the details. After explaining what happened, her friends praised her for denying his invitation because they didn't want her to have a friend with benefits. And then they thought about how to progress Akari's relationship with Jiro. That's when they came up with the idea that Akari should just confess, because they didn't believe he'd reject her after inviting her to live with him. After hearing their reasoning, Akari made up her mind that she would try her best and confess to Jiro what are King's true powers in the 7 deadly sins, known as the Fairy King and the Sin of Sloth. King wields the spirit spear, Chastifol, a sacred weapon born from the sacred tree of the fairy forest. His magic, Disaster, gives him absolute control over nature, life, and death. With it, he can manipulate the natural flow of any object or organism, or amplifying an enemy's pain by twisting the laws of nature itself. Castifol isn't just a single weapon, but multiple weapons in one. It can transform into a massive pillow that protects him, different types of spears useful for all occasions, or even become a giant stuffed grizzly bear. When King finally grew his true Fairy King wings, his power rises to godlike levels. It enabled him to summon multiple Chastifol forms at once, fly at insane speeds, and gave him the power strong enough to go head-to-head with the strongest. Even high-ranking demons and goddesses recognize his strength as one of the most divine forces in existence. King ended up being able to match the first Fairy King in power, and eventually even ended up passing him to become the strongest in history. Did you know that in More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, Jiro finally confessed his biggest secret to Akari? With Christmas right around the corner, Akari saw there was a Christmas market happening soon and asked Jiro if they could go together. Seeing an opportunity and wanting to spend time with Akari, Jiro said yes. Once they got there, Jiro surprised Akari by showing her a sheet with everything the market offered and told her that they were going to do it all. They went shopping, got food, and more. Towards the end of the event, there was a Christmas tree show. Because they did so much, they were running late to make the event. But Jiro knew he couldn't miss it. He grabbed Akari's hand and the two of them rushed towards the show. They made it just in time for the music to start. And that's when Jiro took up the opportunity he saw when she invited him to the market. Looking up at the giant Christmas tree, Jiro hugged Akari close and told her his secret, that he was in love with her. How would you confess to Akari?
Did you know that an Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? Alia used to have a very different appearance. Over summer break in the novels, Kuze and Alia were walking through a train station together when something caught their eye. It turned out to be a picture of Nanoa modeling on a poster with a bunch of other models, and it caught both of them by surprise because of how much Nanoa stood out with her looks despite how attractive everybody else on the poster was. Kuze was especially shocked, and he ended up staring for a decent amount of time while also complimenting her looks. Unfortunately, he was with Alia, and she ended up pinching his cheek week because she was upset with him looking at another woman while he was out with her. Kuze gave her an excuse that it was because her blonde hair stood out so his eyes were naturally drawn to it, but Alia immediately questioned why he was drawn to Nanoa's hair and not her silver hair. This forced him to say that he thought her hair was beautiful too, but she casually brushed it off and revealed to him that back in her childhood, she used to look extremely different. This was because her hair wasn't actually always silver, as it used to be blonde just like Nanoa's, meaning a young Alia would have blue eyes and blonde hair just like Kuze's childhood friend.
Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, a major detail was cut from the anime, and it's what pushed Rudeus to ask Roxy to be his second wife? In the light novels, when Alina Lise was trying to convince Rudeus to take Roxy as his second wife, he was a lot more opposed to the idea than what was shown in the anime. He was so opposed to it that it forced Alina Lise to tell him the harsh truth of what might happen to Roxy if he didn't marry her. That being that Roxy might find a terrible man to take as her husband and go down a terrible path in life. Despite hearing that, Rudeus was still opposed to the idea of taking a second wife. This caused Alina Lise to tell Rudeus something she wasn't planning to bring up, but thought it was necessary in order to give both Roxy and Rudeus the life they deserved together. Without waiting to hear another excuse from Rudeus, Alina Lise told him that Roxy was pregnant with his child. As soon as he heard this, Rudeus changed his mind and told Alina Lise that he would take Roxy as his second wife. However, when Rudeus brought the topic up with Roxy, he found out that she wasn't actually pregnant and that Alina Lise lied to him to get them together.